The religious generally don't have good questions for atheists, but at least most of the time, those questions actually address atheism. This time it doesn't, and our video maker ought to know that. Sadly, he doesn't, so we're going to get into some very unchannel like topics. I apologize for that up front, but I guess we have no choice but to move ahead. So stay tuned. Here we go again with Braxton Hunter's 5 new questions for atheists in 2025. The first question wasn't at all impressive. This one is utterly pointless, and I'm going to warn people in advance that this gets political. That's not my choice, it's Braxton's, but I don't pull any punches. I know I don't usually do politics on the channel, so if that kind of thing bothers you, just switch it off now. You're not really missing a whole lot. I have no control if you get upset over anything that anyone says. So without further ado, here goes nothing.
Question 2. Some atheist creators seem to think that the recent presidential election was so important that it changes the way they should do things on their channels.
Not me. It's business as usual here, and it always will be. I don't let the external world influence what I choose to address, and frankly, I really don't respect people who do. Now, for people like Prophet of Azad, who I know just changed his entire video format, I get the impression that he's been considering a change for a very long time because he was getting tired of saying the same thing over and over and over again to the religious. And that, of course, is entirely his prerogative. It's also mine when I unsubscribed from his channel because the only reason that I was watching was those responses to the religious. Now, I'm not mad at him. It's his channel. He can do whatever he wishes to do, just as I can do with mine. It's also my choice what content I wish to consume, and what he's going to do now is not something that I choose to watch. I wish him the best of luck in the future, but I'm not going to be going along for the ride. That's why I'm very clear that if you don't like what I say, the door's over there. Make use of it. No harm, no foul. I don't get upset if people unsubscribe. It's a reciprocal relationship and always has been. I choose to talk about what I want to talk about. You choose to stick around if you want to. Or not. It's completely up to you. I don't get people who hate watch anything. I find that horribly childish.
Watch.
I am going to be changing things up on YouTube quite a bit, to the extent that I'm not going to be doing this channel anymore.
And truth be told, that was the last video of his I ever watched. Cool, you do you, and I'll do me. I don't know how anyone can expect anything else. Why is this even a question? Honestly, I don't get it. Now, there may be other channels that have changed their content. I don't know because I don't watch them. I can only speak for what I have experienced, and with Zod as the only one that I used to subscribe to out of this list, that's all I can respond to. In fact, I've unsubscribed from a ton of channels in the last couple of months because they have started to talk about things that I've got absolutely no interest in watching. If you want to do the occasional political video, fine, go ahead. I don't care. I'll just skip over it. I don't want to watch. If you're going to talk about it regularly, then I am going to take my eyes elsewhere because there's tons of content out there that I'm actually interested in watching on YouTube. If you're not it, have fun. I'm just going elsewhere. And I said this to somebody a while back, someone who wasn't even a content creator, and they got mad. Like it's my responsibility to follow these people around, whether I want to hear what they're saying or not. And I'm sorry, but that's just not how this works. Not one bit.
So I don't think the timing is lost on anybody here, that this is happening, shortly after the last political election. I'm not going to lie, very, very distraught and a little freaked out by the results not just who won, but the extent by which they won.
And I don't comment on politics generally if I can help it, at least not here. But in general, nobody should be surprised, and clearly nobody should be screaming at the sky like an immature child, like we've seen so many people do of a particular political persuasion lately. Seriously, grow the hell up. It's fine to be disappointed, but adults don't do what you're doing. Adults grow a pair and deal with it. This shows once again where the adults are and where they're not, and sad to say, there aren't a lot of adults out there when it comes to politics these days, especially on the extreme fringes. We can do without all of you. Just go fuck off. But again, I'm not watching his channel anymore, not because of that part of it, but because I want nothing at all to do with political discussions, and if that's what he wants to talk about now, more power to him, but I'm going to be somewhere else. That's pretty much all I have to say on that.
And that does get us all thinking about our future and our safety and what things are going to look like going forward. Basically, what that did is that just jolted me. For a while, I just kind of been on the treadmill doing what I was doing. I wanted to get off at some point and doing something different. And so this election and the little jolt that it gave me just kind of pushed me off the algorithm treadmill and gave me the prompt to just do something a little different.
Seriously, grow the hell up. I'm sorry, I'm going to apologize now, but I have to. If Trump was as terrible as you idiots all pretend he was, and keep in mind, I didn't vote for him in 2024, I didn't vote for anybody for president in 2024, but you know, then you wouldn't be out there in public saying all the stupid crap that you're saying. He would be rounding you up and putting you in containment camps. But he's not doing that, is he? He never did. He never even played make-believe that he was going to. He respects your right to free speech, no matter how stupid your speech actually is. Whereas you idiots, or maybe not these people specifically, but the political ideology that they tend to espouse, they're the ones out there trying to cancel people and shut them the hell up. We kind of went through a decade on social media with left-leaning platforms shutting up the right and throwing them out into the cold just because they didn't like what they had to say. Hell, even when Musk took over Twitter, and I've always thought that it was a reprehensible platform, and I haven't been on it for many years, but even then, he didn't go on a purge to get rid of the left-leaning voices. That was their choice. They no longer could shut up the people they didn't like, so they all ran for Blue Sky or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know because I don't use that either. You don't see people on the right saying, well, if my candidate doesn't win, I'm leaving the country. And then, of course, not doing it. The right has plenty of problems of their own, but at least they're not hypocritical assholes by and large. So, fuck you. You are not thinking rationally about any of this, and you're just making a fool of yourself. Knock it off.
I am shifting gears a little bit here and widening the lens, so to speak. And I want to talk about it.
I honestly don't care. This is probably a place where I ought to be fast forwarding, but since I want to contain this kind of political rhetoric, I'm going to just let it go. I warned you at the beginning, and I wrote the intro after I had seen the question for good reason. So go ahead, not like I care. I've never watched your channel anyhow, so go ahead and get to it.
Because I've changed my mind since my last video. I posted a kind of off-the-cuff video of my thoughts and feelings post-election.
And I still don't care. I mean, honestly, can we just get to the question already? If he just asked questions and not included all this irrelevant bullshit, I could have done this whole thing in a single video. It's making me regret my insistence on including the entire video in my response, so nobody accuses me of taking things out of context. I might have to reconsider that in some future videos, maybe. Let me know down in the comments if you think I should, because honestly, I want to head off all the potential irrational criticisms that I can until something like this comes along, and I have to wonder if it's all worthwhile. So let me know down below what you think. I might have a change of mind on this, at least in limited circumstances.
And I said that the political conversation, I didn't want it to set the tone for future videos. And I didn't want to get into politics. And I wanted to stay focused on what I was doing. But I changed my mind.
So now you're going to double down on your own political stupidity. Okay, that's probably not fair, and I'm not going to watch regardless. I have no problem with people saying whatever crazy stuff they want to say because I value free speech almost to the exclusion of all else. I would never try to cancel anyone. I just choose to watch other things, and that goes for everything in the political spectrum, left and right. If these two were going to start pushing a hardcore right-wing political screed, I'd be saying the exact same thing. I don't want to watch it. I'm going elsewhere. By all means, do it if that's what you want to do, but I'm not playing along. I'm an equal opportunity critic on both sides, but I really don't much care to see either one of them because I think both sides have some major problems. So can we please get to the question? Pretty please? Come on.
Why do you think that this election was so impactful to atheists in this way? What did it reveal about the culture?
I don't think it had anything at all to do with atheism. Correlation is not causation. That's irrational. You have people of a particular political persuasion, and you have atheists. Atheism is the lack of belief in God's full stop. What they're doing has nothing at all to do with atheism. In fact, I think it has a whole lot more to do with religious style thinking than anything else. But no, I'm not going to go into that either. How many atheist channels are doing this? Seriously. Because the overwhelming majority of channels that I follow, they're not. And the ones that are, I'm not following them anymore. If you can't stick to one subject, then go away. Or rather, I'll go away. You do you, and I'm going to do me. I will find the content that I want to watch. That was easy. But he's just making assumptions about atheism that prove once again that he has no idea what the hell he's talking about. This isn't a question for atheists. It's a question for political pundits of a particular stripe. Those two are not the same thing. Now, like I said, you can go out there and talk about whatever the hell you want. This isn't limited to politics. If some atheist YouTuber that I'd been watching suddenly decided to inject a huge amount of, I don't know, cross-stitch talk, I'd unsubscribe there too. I've got nothing against cross-stitch. My wife does cross-stitch, and she even watches some cross-stitching content on YouTube. I'm fine with that, but that's not what I want to consume. So you do you, I'll do me, and that's the end of that. So it looks like this is going to be a really short video. I'd jump into the next question, but it looks long, and I don't want this to go on for 45 minutes, so we're just going to cut it here. That's two of his questions that have been positively terrible. The first was just ignorant, and that's not really a surprise. And this one was only tangentially a question for atheists. Sort of atheists. Not really atheists. I guess it was kind of atheist adjacent. It was addressing people who just so happen to also be atheists. People who have had atheist channels who decided to pivot to something else, and so what? Who cares? That's my question. Who the hell cares? I'd ask if anyone thought I should continue, but I'm already committed, and besides, by the time that anyone actually saw this video, I'll already be done with all the rest, so it really doesn't matter. It's one of those things that I might consider throwing up as a poll in Patreon, but since nobody ever answers there, what's the point in that? So I guess I'm going to just have to suffer through and see if this improves. I certainly hope it doesn't get worse, although I can't really imagine how. But, you know, who the hell really knows, right? Anyway, the comments are open. Go ahead and let your feelings be known. And I'll be back next week with another question. And hopefully it'll have something to do with atheism. I guess we can only wait and see.